Receive Friday greetings from our studio. You're welcome to over 6:30 Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks for being a part of the Friday Prime News on My Media Prime. We're live from Fengudrombange in Douala. Gienda Belgian Blanche King is my name. We'll begin today's edition of the news on a sad note. A man whose name we got as Ngwana Elias from Kumba in Kmer Division, southwest region of the country, has been confirmed dead. He was witnessed during a civil wedding signed at the Kumba 2 Council, where he collapsed minutes after the certificates were signed and was rushed to the Kumba District Hospital, where he gave up the ghost. Doctor's examination revealed that he was diabetic. His corpse has been deposited at the Kumba District Hospital mortuary pending burial. Away from that, Bafut Council, led by Mayor Congo Lawrence, has handed over a dormitory reconstructed by the council to the administration of PSS Mancon. Accompanied by the Member of Parliament for Bafut, Honorable Anga Oliver, the mayor equally promised scholarship to some of the first 10 students in Form 5 and Upper 6th in the upcoming General Certificate of Education. Details with Charles Kepa.
The mayor of Bafut Council, Congo Lawrence, and councillors, alongside the Member of Parliament for Bafut Tuba, Honorable Aga Oliver, have paid a visit to the girls' dormitory at PSS Mancon, which was burned by suspected fighters. The mayor's visit to PSS Mancon was to hand over the girls' dormitory, constructed by the Bafut Council, to the school authority of PSS Mancon, now host to students from Bafut. Mayor Congo Lawrence noted the reconstruction works as satisfactory.
Satisfied with the work done. I want to first of all start by appreciating the contractor who did the job. The council has put in a lot by transforming these materials that came in and putting in more materials to see that these children sleep and study in a conducive environment. And secondly, I want to thank the school administration too for opening their doors for us to come in for assistance, because many schools, they may not even open their doors.
The girls' dormitory at PSS Mancon, hosting students, girls from PSS Bafut, which was completely burned on the night of Friday and Saturday, 22nd and 23rd of February 2020, has been refurbished by the Bafut Council with beds and mattresses. Mayor Congo Lawrence of the Bafut Council, while appreciate the funding raised from collective efforts by some personalities and the Bafut Council, addressing the students, encouraged them out of their trauma. Both the mayor, Congo Lawrence, and Aga Oliver, MP for Bafut Tuba, said the era when politicians make promises that are never respected is long past. They both promised scholarships to outstanding students.
You know, this scholarship has come in as a booster to encourage these children to study well, despite the environmental hazards that surrounds them. And I want to tell you that the Bafut Council, in collaboration with the Member of Parliament for Bafut Tuba, as mentioned, will take care of these children from now to when our mandate is over as the mayor of Bafut and as a parliamentarian. And we are not just making pronouncements just as any other politicians. That era has gone past. And I want to tell you that if they were to go to university tomorrow, the scholarships will be available for them.
The first 10 students of Form 5 and Upper 6th will be granted scholarship to study in high school and first year in the university. The mayor and MP equally handed over coronavirus preventive kits to the students.
Elements of the National Gendarmerie, together with elements of the National Task Force, have intercepted a consignment of illicit fur along the Douala-Edea Highway. This is in line with an operation launched recently to stop the sales and transportation of illicit fur. Details with Fonquinta.
In recent times, streets in most cities of the Republic of Cameroon have been flooded with illicit fuel, referred to locally as fingi. With an alarming rate in the sales of these products, the Ministry of Water and Energy, in a bid to stop this activity, created a task force and brigade to put an end to this illegal and dangerous activity in Cameroon. The task force was on the streets along the Douala-Edea stretch, intercepting liters of this illicit fuel. According to Mbasob Nasser, member of the National Control Brigade, those involved in the sector do so without authorization.
When you want to deal with this activity, you must ask for license or authorization to the ministry. The minister will send a competent authority to come and check whether all the security measures are taken before you start the activity. But when you see somebody just wake up in the morning, go and buy 1 or 2 gallons and start selling without knowing the risk, sometimes they are sleeping with this product, and that's why you hear that you have fire outbreak here and there. People are putting this thing even in the kitchen without knowing the risk. That's why we are out today to stop this activity, and we are continue the activity in good access.
The task force that has been on the streets of Yaoundé, Bafoussam and now Douala will move to other cities to eradicate the sales of illicit fuel.
A town to another, you see everywhere everybody is selling fuel, which is not authorized. That is why the Minister of Water Energy authorized us to put in place this brigade and fight against this illicit activity. And we started in Yaoundé, Douala, Bafoussam. Today we are still on the major axis, Ideya.
To completely put an end to this dangerous activity, which has been causing disaster across the national territory, the Ministry of Water and Energy has initiated a law which permits members of the task force to confiscate the product and arrest those involved in the sales of illicit fuel in the Republic of Cameroon.
In church news, Christians of the Revival Christian Church International have been called to serve God in love, humility, and holiness, especially at a time when the country is in dire need of a miracle, battling with a health crisis and a socio-political crisis. The call was made recently by the General Overseer of the Church, Bar Pius Inobu, during the celebration of the first anniversary. Kumon Norimbom completes the story in the following report.
The Revived Christian Church International recently celebrated its first anniversary with a call for Christians to shun division and walk in love, humility, and obedience to God. The call was made by Reverend Pastor Mba Pius Inobu, visionary and founder of the Revived Christian Church, while speaking to over 1,000 Christians who answered present during the first anniversary of the church. The man of God thanked God for the grace upon his life and ministry, as God gave him a platform and people who stood firm to him when he left the Presbyterian Church 1 year ago. As a former pastor of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, the journey to the creation of the Revived Christian Church has not been an easy one, as it took him 13 years, during which he resisted many persecutions to wait for God's time. He, however, thanked the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon for the foundation they gave to him to become what he is today.
We have to understand that there are potentials, abilities embedded in us. And the Christian family have buried themselves in the four walls of the church, only praying, not putting into use the talents and the giftings that God has put into them. The clarion call today is that look inside of you. There's something peculiar and there's something strong in you that you can use it to be your life and live positively.
Celebrating on the theme, God has designed me for the best, the man of God told Christians that the Revived Christian Church is not just a church, but a Christian revolution movement destined for the best. He regretted the ongoing bloodshed in Cameroon and called on the clergy to stand up and take hold of the country for Jesus Christ. Pastor Mba Pius noted that the reason why Cameroon has slid into the wall of absurd is because churches have become so divided and many are not focused in serving and saving the people of God from the hands of the wicked who have turned Cameroon into a bloodbath. The celebration was marked by the presence of some senior pastors in Cameroon, amongst them the Archbishop Professor Godfred Anyere from Kumba, Bishop Dr. Motase Johnson from Tico, Reverend Pastor Tangi George F. Sald, and a college of pastors who all prayed for God's abundant blessing to the life of Reverend Bar Pius Inobu and his ministry. The anniversary was marked by a fundraising which was meant to construct a multi-purpose building complex to host a school, a church house, and offices. The school project is expected to commence come September next academic year.
On our health page, we talk about the Chagas disease. This disease is a life-threatening illness which can lead to death if not treated over time. Symptoms include fever, headache, and body ache, and more. Details in the following report compiled by Bokengo Kemiaworthy.
Chagas disease, also known as the silent disease, is a life-threatening infectious disease with millions of sufferers worldwide.
Chagas disease affects more than 6 million, most of them in Latin America, although it's increasingly appearing elsewhere in the world. Most people have few or no symptoms, which makes screening and detection all the more important.
Transmitted to humans and other mammals by contact with feces or urine of an infected tritomine bug containing the parasite, the disease is then being spread to other individuals through contaminated food, blood transmission, organ donation, as well as from mother to child, all of which can be prevented.
If treatment starts soon after infection, Chagas disease is curable. Even if treatment starts later, mother-to-child transmission and disease progression can be prevented.
With the COVID-19 pandemic hammering hard on the world, patients with the Chagas disease are at risk of severe coronavirus manifestation.
People with Chagas disease are especially at risk from COVID-19 and should be prioritized for vaccination. Today, I call on countries to increase their investments in the prevention and treatment of Chagas disease. Early diagnosis and effective treatment can save lives.
According to the World Health Organization, Chagas disease has strong socio-economic and environmental determinants, and its different dimensions linked in a gearing mechanism justify the necessity of multi-sectoral approaches in reducing the estimated 12,000 deaths yearly through cardiac arrest, intestinal disorder borne by Chagas disease.
Minister of Public Health Manauda Malachi was in Boya and Limbe earlier today to officially launch the COVID-19 vaccine. During his first stop at the Boya Regional Hospital, at least 4 persons were vaccinated with the Sinopharm vaccine, amongst them the hospital director, Dr. Martin Mukake. He later moved to Limbe for the same exercise. It should be recalled that yesterday, Minister Manauda Malachi was in Douala for a similar exercise, that is to launch the vaccination campaign here in Douala. Away from that, Denis Sassou Nguesso has been sworn in as president of Congo-Brazzaville. The 77-year-old won the March 2021 presidential election against 6 candidates to sit in for his 4th 5-year term in office. Details in the following report. Denis Sassou Nguesso has officially been sworn in as the president of Congo-Brazzaville. He was sworn in today during a ceremony heavily attended by a host of dignitaries from around Africa and beyond. Sassou Nguesso won the March 21, 2021 presidential elections with 88% of the vote according to professional results against opposition leader Parfait Kolela, who died of COVID-19. He has a 5-year term with possibility of a maximum of 2 re-elections. The swearing-in ceremony took place today under strict scrutiny given the controversies and criticisms raised during elections and proclamation of results. Telecommunications were cut off during election day at the national level, a situation widely condemned by individuals, the African Union, and other international organizations. Denis Sassou Nguesso beat Guy Brice Parfait, Mathias Nzon, Joseph Kim Numbi, Kia Mbungo, Dav Mafula, Albert Nyonge, and Angwas Nganywa Ngambe to win his 4th term in office. He won the 2002 presidential election, was re-elected in 2009, 2016, and 2021. President Paul Biya of Cameroon was represented today by Prime Minister Joseph Diangote, who was received by Congolese Minister of External Relations Jean-Claude Gakoso. Joseph Diangote was bearer of diplomatic messages from His Excellency President Paul Biya of Cameroon. We've come to the end of today's edition of Prime News on My Major Prime. Thanks for being with us. Lasha Kingsley coordinated the news, produced by Ewane Eli Nolinga. My name is Genda Pelgin Blanche King. See you on Monday, God willing, at 6:30 for another edition of Prime News. Thanks for being with us from Monday right up till today. Stay tuned at 7 p.m. Cameroon time. Prime Hour will be live with Kim Leonard. Enjoy today's fresh edition of Prime Hour only on the African Eye. Happy weekend.